Oh, it's live.
Yeah, we are live. No viewers yet, though. We'll give it a second here.
Oh, it's live.
Yeah, we are live.
I got feedback like a
we'll give it a second.
ever here. Hang on.
Oh, it's live.
Yeah, we are live. No feedback. We'll give it a second.
It looked like Kevin expressed some interest. I don't know.
Let's see.
Oh, it's live. Yeah, we are live. No feedback.
Johnny.
It looked like Kevin expressed some interest. I don't know.
Why is there feedback?
I have no idea. Hang on. I think it's Johnny. Johnny, kill your mic.
Johnny.
All right. Kevin expressed some interest. I don't know.
Why is there feedback?
I have no idea. Hang on. I think it's Johnny. Johnny, kill your mic. Johnny.
All right. Kevin.
Yep. Johnny, you got to get yourself a pair of headphones if you're going to be joining us this evening, man. Or you got to turn them speakers down and separate your mic from your speakers. Andrew, you can hear me okay, right? Andrew?
Mic from your speakers. Andrew, you can hear me okay, right?
Oh, God. No,
Yeah.
Johnny, that's no good. Hang on.
Andrew,
I'm good.
mic from your speakers. Andrew, you can hear me okay, right?
Oh, God.
No,
Yeah.
Johnny, that's no good.
All right, Johnny's muted.
Andrew,
I'm good.
mic from your speakers.
Is it me? Well, and I'm muting you, too. I'm not getting feedback from me. I'm not getting feedback from... Oh, it is you. It's you, Andrew. Turn me down on your speakers there.
I'm not getting feedback from me. I'm not getting feedback from...
Does that
Oh,
work?
it is you.
Mic check. Yeah, that seems to be better. I can't hear myself coming through your mic anymore. Johnny, are you with us? Audio check 1 2.
Audio check 1 2.
Oh, I can't hear Andrew now. Andrew?
I still hear it.
Coming through your mic anymore. Johnny, are you with
I
us?
hear Andrew, but no feedback. Audio check 1 2.
I can't hear Andrew now. Andrew?
I think it's
Yes.
something on your
I still hear it.
end. Yeah, it's on Andrew's end. This is very strange.
I hear Andrew, but no feedback.
All right.
It's a huge delay.
I can't hear
Yeah, I understand that.
on your end. Yeah, it's on Andrew's end. This is very strange.
Should I get out and come back
Yeah,
in?
try to get out and come back in.
Huge delay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening on Tyrant Slayer Studios. We have very special guests and our regular senatorial candidate, John J. Flynn. Andrew Pritchard is joining us here again this evening. We're going to be discussing a number of topics and hitting on him closing out his case. We're going to be talking about Cantor Fitzgerald. We're going to be talking about a number of very serious topics and providing as much insight and education upon them as we can. So thank you very much for being here. Johnny, let's do an audio check between you and I. Are you still good?
I'm good to go.
Awesome. No feedback coming from Johnny. Yeah, that was definitely an issue with Andrew. Hopefully
Well,
he's
let me,
got that resolved.
Let me mention, till Andrew gets back, that we got another whistleblower today from Goldman Sachs saying they are rigging the mortgage market.
Wow, a story for sure. Here's Andrew now. Andrew, how's your audio, sir?
We got another whistleblower today from Goldman Sachs.
Oh, you know what it is? You have a browser opened with the video actually
sorry
streaming.
for sure.
You think?
Yeah, it's almost like he's watching he must have a window opened with the stream like on my YouTube channel. Just mute that or close that. You can mute it so you can keep an eye on the chat if you want in there, Andrew.
I don't see it.
I don't have anything.
I don't see
How's
it.
this?
Okay, yeah, it's fixed. Whatever you did, fixed it. We're good.
I don't
I
see
haven't
it.
touched anything.
Okay.
Just don't know what's going on.
All right. We are good. After some
All right.
technical difficulties here, A bumpy start, but a start nonetheless on Tyrant Slayer Studios. Once again, thank you for being here. If you're just joining us now, we have the greatest, some of the greatest legal minds in the state of Connecticut here with us. And here is the very modest man himself, Mr. Andrew Pritchard, and joined by his very dear friend and a very dear friend of mine, and also a very strong senatorial candidate, state senatorial candidate here in the state of Connecticut, Mr. John J. Flynn. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to the man fighting harder than anyone on behalf of the people, as far as I could tell. We have a few things to discuss here. I'm going to let Andrew kick it right off. We do have kind of a late start given the technical difficulties, but that's all right. We'll work right through that stuff, iron it right out. Andrew, why don't you just take it away and tell the people what we're going to be hitting on tonight, and just start from the top, my man. You can tell them better than I can.
Sure. Good evening. I wanted to first close out some stuff on my case from the last time that we spoke. For those who haven't been involved, it's a seizure of my home, which is valued at, well, in 2019, City Mortgage Inc. valued it, foreclosure value, they had it valued at 3.4 million. I would say it's somewhere around 3.5, somewhere in there. There were some comments that were made from people looking into other things in terms of my financials, and I'd like to address some of those things so people understand that stuff, which I normally would not do, but it'll also lead to some other stuff that some other things that people will find quite interesting as we get further into this. However, I do want to, when I close this out, I want to get into some of the general stuff as to the corruption here in the state of Connecticut and some of its history. And you can see, you get a better sense of how bad it is and how it's been for some time. So I don't normally share this stuff, and I'm not one to sort of do any tooting of one's horn. I like to keep a pretty low profile, but I did want to touch on some things so you get a sense of my background and everything else. If you don't mind going to that book cover that's there, Tim, this is a book called Transforming Wall Street, A Conscious Path for a New Future. This is a book that I was fortunate enough to be asked to be in, and basically it's a book of what they consider people that are Wall Street squeaky clean, doing interesting things on Wall Street. I was fortunate and blessed to be asked to be a part of this book, and was coined one of the Wall Street 50 for being that way. And I share that with you just to give you some background in terms of finance. If you could go to the two patents, either one is fine. What Tim's showing you here are two patents. These are the first securities patents issued. This method and systems of generating an investment trust comprising of neutralized securities. You'll see that there's 4 inventors. This is actually a follow-on. The other patent that you have, you'll see just my name alone. Okay, you can see Andrew Pritchard. If you go back to the other patent, these other people that are on there, basically, when this was all being put in there, literally were in a bar. And because of the nature of Cantor Fitzgerald, this all happened with Cantor Fitzgerald, and it was my private work. And I was working, cutting a deal with Cantor Fitzgerald at the time. And I said, well, I better get some of you guys on here to back me up, because you can't trust these guys at all. So that's where some of these people, one of my good friends, Scott Hartzell's on there. Anyway, what's important about patents, just for those who are investors and stuff, the thing to really look at, if you go on down, keep going down further, you'll get to citations. And under citations is where you really get a sense of how powerful a patent is. And you'll see that, China, all kinds of people around the world have cited this patent. The reason they're citing this patent is this particular vehicle, not only does it enable you to trade all kinds of things electronically and so forth.
This is an enormous document, by the way.
But it also enables the trading of carbon credits. Howard Lutnick has stolen this and has claimed that the assignment is from Cantor Fitzgerald. I have filed many things with the U.S. Patent Office and nothing back. The reason I'm bringing up about Cantor is in 2008, 2009, when the mortgage-backed securities crisis occurred, I knew that was coming. As a matter of fact, I was all over it about 2005 and set up all kinds of positions to address such an implosion of things, and did quite nicely on our desk where everybody else was blowing up, even to the point where after everything happened, I put together and we was bringing in quite a large team of people to do things. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Howard Lutnick, the chairman there, sends a hatchet man and terminates me. I go into arbitration. The arbitration took about 5 years. It finally ended with the First Division of the Appellate Court of the State of New York, which I won $1.25 million. I'm one of 2 people that's ever beaten Howard Lutnick in court because he owns every law firm in New York City and Washington, D.C. Wow. There's a reason he lives next door to Epstein.
Wow. The world's getting smaller.
It gets very small. Anyway, the biggest thing that he's after is my patents. But just so you know, the 1.25 million arbitration. Let's see, the people that I went up against were one of the arbitrators and the legal team represented Major League Baseball, things of that sort. So it wasn't like small time stuff. However, they didn't address things such as my partnership, nor my patent. So when I won the arbitration for 1.25 million, which said Andy Pritchard is a great employee, blah, 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 because that was the focus of it, with all the games and so forth and so on that they played, there was supposed to be instant release of my partnership. There's no way to hold my partnership. Howard refused to even pay the court-ordered payment for a long period of time, and he immediately went and refused to pay my partnership back. And to this day, my partnership has not been paid, and all the following income. Now, what's significant about this, and I'm not trying to be a victim or anything, I want to let you know, I was also a partner at Cantor Fitzgerald on 9/11. So I was one of the few left. I believe when 9/11 occurred, I was one of 126 partners, I think. So you can get a sense of the value of the partnership. I was managing director, so forth and so on. The tax liens, this is for somebody who said, what is this guy Pritchard? He hasn't paid his taxes and stuff. The tax liens are liens that the IRS and the state of Connecticut all agreed to just lean up against my house because of my partnerships that's to come out and pay, because it was all due to compensatory damages coming out of the lawsuit and arbitration. So that's what that is.
Folks, okay. I've put the links to the 2 patents that we're going to be viewing here up in the comment section for you folks to take a look at your own leisure. These are enormous documents. Andrew's going into some tremendous insight. Hey, one of the things I would like you to touch on is the land patent. There's some people, and it kind of relates to your statements here about the taxes and things, the people's questions about taxes. Somebody said something to the effect of, a land patent doesn't mean you don't have to pay your taxes. It looks to me he stopped paying his taxes because he's got a land patent. Is there any semblance of truth in that person's speculation? And can you kind of go into detail about what the land patent actually does for you in a layman's sort of term?
Sure. A land patent, an allodial title, that's sovereign land, and actually there's nothing you can lien against the land. All our property used to be done with grantor deeds. It wasn't until around the Civil War that you started to get warranty deeds. Warranty deeds, if you see a warranty deed, you'll start to read it, and it basically talks about you as a tenant. If you look at your deeds, you'll see that you're a tenant. You're not a tenant, okay? You want to get back to what is basically a grantor deed. So if you can take your chain of title back to where you get to a grantor deed, or if you're out west and stuff, taking it back to where the land patent occurred, land patent being, you staked a claim out west, and then the United States gave you that chunk of land, and that was done through a land patent. These land patents are also used going back in time here in the, let's call it colonial states. My particular property goes back to a guy named Ludlow, who bought the land from the Indians. I forget what date, but he bought the land from the Indians, and it's a series of grantor trusts. And because I got a clean chain of title all the way back to that, I also filed federal claims, which basically, listen, there's no claim. There's nothing they can do, can't touch. There's nothing. It's basically, I could go borrow $1 gazillion against this place and nobody can touch it. They have no right. It's sovereign, period. It's at a whole nother level.
But just to clarify, does that excuse you from paying property tax?
Yeah, in actuality, not to get really technical, but all our taxes are basically done. We choose to do it. We are not required to, believe it or not.
I think Wesley Snipes would disagree, but
yeah, no, I understand. I understand. I'm just saying. Now, the taxes on my property have been paid. Everything's been paid.
Right. All right. Just to make that clear, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it.
Yeah.
Right here from Mr. Pritchard himself. I've said it time and time again in the comments section. He doesn't owe any taxes on this property. There is no mortgage. He's not on a sovereign citizen crusade and trying to avoid paying taxes based on some 300-year-old law or 200-year-old law.
No.
It's nothing like that, folks. No. I mean, don't get it twisted. This is an honest man with a wonderful family and a beautiful home, which he transformed into what it is today through his own sweat and hard work. And the state truly is victimizing an innocent man and his innocent family. Yeah. And the judicial is weaponized.
Yes. So all the stuff in terms of tax liens, so you see, are sitting there, and it's really to go with damages up against a suit which will occur versus my partnership, which there's no way out of it. And Howard Lutnick has, and Cantor Fitzgerald, it's comical because it's just making money. And just to give you an idea how serious that is, when I was there as a partner in 2001, there basically 9/11 occurred. Those of us that were left took all the money we had. We didn't even know if we had a firm. We took all the money we had and we put it back in to rebuild, to be able to support the families. And people don't know this stuff, but think about that. You just lost the entire firm, and you take everything that you have in terms of savings and you put it back in. And this guy Lutnick, he's a piece of work, boy. He's something. So anyway, we were thinking, all of us that were still there, experiencing the whole thing, this is bigger than us. We have to do this. So anyway, I'm not going to get on that high horse or anything. It's just, that's what's involved with that particular tax piece. Mm-hmm. And I need it staying there because it shows my damages with some other stuff. It's a
very relevant piece of the puzzle.
Right. But anyway, that's to please anyone that's gotten it with, and some of that other stuff had to do with some stuff there with cards and things of that. But anyway, leave it at that. Anyway, I'd like to go to, there's a piece there that on Judge Spader.
Oh, okay.
That so a worst criminal judge in the country. This was written by a gentleman out of Florida, and it's a very interesting thing to read.
Can you spot which one it is?
It should be something that talks about the worst criminal judge.
It's
Okay.
yellow.
Let's see. Bear with me, ladies
It
and
was one
gentlemen.
of the first ones.
Let's finger through them. Let's see.
Yellow.
It's yellow.
Yeah.
I don't see anything yellow here.
What's
let's
behind your emblem there?
Hold on. I'm not looking at the screen. You are. Oh, next to the Roguetown stuff.
Could be. I don't know how you
Oh.
laid those out. Worst criminal judge. It's just a Word document, a PDF that says the worst.
Oh, I got it. I got
Yep.
it.
It's hidden.
It's right here. The worst criminal judge in America, Judge
Yes.
Walter Spader, Stamford, Connecticut.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see.
Anyway, he's going to bring this up. This is somebody in Florida wrote about a case that's going on here in Connecticut, and I was actually fortunate enough to speak to the person whose actual case it is. And the situation is this simple. The plaintiff has absolutely no subject matter jurisdiction whatsoever. It's a debt collector from outside the state who came in to basically steal this gentleman's home. The guy looked up stuff and filed several times that he's not registered within the state of Connecticut. The name is not registered in the state of Connecticut. And he, as a matter of fact, did it as many times as 8 times, I believe, in the case. And they just kept ignoring it. Judge Spader ignored it and just kept marching ahead and he kept saying the plaintiff does not have subject matter jurisdiction. You got to throw this whole thing out. So what the gentleman did was he said, to hell with this. So he went and registered the very name of the entity in the state of Connecticut. So when Judge Spader did the illegal transfer of title, he put it right into his registered name.
There could be no argument that an LLC has to be registered in Connecticut to appear in court as a plaintiff.
So he effectively, basically, Judge Spader effectively took the title out of his name and put it into the defendant's registered entity in Connecticut.
This sounds interesting. Bill files motions, not particularly good ones, but that does not matter because Spader simply stamps denied on them within a few days and sometimes on the same day. Thus, there is no briefing and certainly no oral argument. Spader constantly frees the plaintiff bar of having to do any real work or even have what they do minimally reviewed by the court. But here we have a court that has no subject matter jurisdiction, and Spader could care less. This is extremely powerful stuff.
Yeah. So let's go to the next one is the number of orders by Spader in my case.
Okay. Just give me a moment here.
Click on that one. It'll blow your mind.
Number of orders.
So it should be like 128 orders by Judge Spader or more.
Let's see. Exhibits, disgraced former. Johnny, you have something to add, sir?
Well, I was talking to Squires and he was saying how he took his new checkbook in the name of the company that was trying to steal his property that he in turn registered in Connecticut properly, took his new checkbook, hired a locksmith, and had all the locks changed back to the original locks, using the plaintiff's name unregistered, now properly registered through Connecticut by himself, and he thinks he's very proud of that.
Oh, there we go. Court number of orders by Judge Spader Jr. without being in front of him, 128 times.
Yes. You can click on that. This kind of sends things home as to what a joke. Just point blank, what a joke this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
If you could bring that up.
Yep. Just a moment, please.
Sure.
I'm getting lost in the shuffle here. I got so many windows open. Oh, here we are. Share screen. And
Let me just add, there are 3 ladies calling us now, trying to join our group. One from Long Island, one from New Jersey, one from Manhattan, all claiming the same exact crap happening to Andrew is happening all over the tri-state area. That there are multiple judges working at multiple law firms doing the exact same thing here in Connecticut. And it even is coming out that they are using the same type of strategies with shell companies, entire law firms dedicated to robbing people in Nassau County, Long Island.
So
all right,
if you look at this, go on down, right there. If you'll see, this is starting from there. And if you keep running on down, those are every single order that he's just denied. In my case, I've never been before him. He doesn't even read this stuff. He doesn't even know what it is. It goes on and on and on. Those are all motions. Those are about, each one of those are anywhere from 5 to 50 pages. But not
each motion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not once have I been in front of him. Not one hearing, nothing. And you should know
disqualification of judge.
Oh yeah. So a motion for disqualification for judge. Again, I want to make this one really clear. There is only one answer a judge can give with a motion of disqualification comes up against him. The only answer he can give is, I recuse myself. Otherwise, it has to go before, at least has to go before another judge with a hearing. No, Walter Spader. Denied.
He's special.
Denied.
He's a magical judge.
He is. He's a magical judge. Anyway, let's go to a petition for trial by jury, because this is very important to my case, so everyone also knows, because one of the things that's so important about taking down these judges is that, and the thing that they're avoiding at all costs, which is why I've brought the capias against all these people, is we're supposed to have a trial by jury, okay? And especially if we demand it. And it's our constitutional right, and it's our Connecticut constitutional right. So there should be a thing that file there, a petition for trial by jury. I just want to show what it is. It has a picture with a bunch of foreclosure signs on the front.
Yep, I got it right here.
Okay.
I found it.
Okay.
Al Cuzio's in the house.
So,
Al Cuzio, thank you for joining us, sir. The Constitution State is a new auditor here in the state of Connecticut, plugging away and trying to keep up the good fight for our constitutionally protected rights, transparency, accountability, and, of course, when appropriate, liability. So if you haven't heard of the Constitution State, please head on over to his channel and say hello. Let him know that Tyrant Slayer Studio sent you. We're getting this information up for you now.
Yeah.
Let's see. There it is.
No.
Okay, so that was one of the foreclosure sales in my house. All those signs that you see there in the picture, those are all different foreclosure sales that I went through, just to give you an idea of what kind of stuff my family's been through. Okay, so each one of those is a different date and time. I thought I'd put them all up so everybody got a sense of everything that's going on.
Incredible.
Anyway, what you see here, if you keep going, this is a petition, okay, of 200 people that signed for me to have a jury trial, which I filed with the court. So the people of Connecticut have signed a petition to support me in demanding my trial by jury. Yet, guess what? Who denies it? Walter Spader Jr. He denies it. Without a hearing, of course.
Wow, look at that.
So those are all petition signers.
Well, let's give each one of those individuals a round of applause.
Yes, absolutely.
Angela Harris is on there. She's in the house.
Yep.
Here's an interesting comment, Andrew, just to detract from what
Sure.
we got going on here. Section 34-275E, non-complying name of foreign limited liability company. A foreign limited liability company whose name does not comply with section... where's the rest of this? Oh, here we go. May not register to transact business in this state until it adopts for the purpose of transacting business in the state. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Thank you,
Yeah,
Albert
well,
Cuso.
That's getting to exactly what the gentleman was dealing with, and a lot of people are dealing with because of these entities. It's amazing. So let's go to the capias, so everybody gets a sense of all the names involved, and let me highlight all these complicit participants in this giant racketeering scheme, at least on my situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Motion for capias. Got it. Let's
All
see.
right, let's bring that up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, until you find it. A lady today learned of Andrew's capias from, I think, Arizona. And she's going to contact him and get copies so she can follow suit. So in other words, if you have problems with judges, we really got to work together to unseat them if they have absolute immunity. So go ahead.
Okay, so here, this is just basically the front couple pages of my motion for capias and demand trial by jury. These are all the things that, the charges. Now, what you see here is Chief Justice Rogers, Chief Court Administrative Patrick Carroll. Then we get down to the Superior Courts. We got Genario. The Appellate Court, we got Flynn. And you go to the next page. You'll see all these judges here: Tierney, Randolph, Blowy, Lee, Matalisi, Kavanewski, Kowalski, Mintz, who's now working at Carmody Law, who on this case, so you know, was the committee on my case, Carmody Law. So Mintz is working at Carmody Law. So is and the partners there all work together. They're at like 700 Summer Street. They're a dirty little outfit. Tobin, Pavader, Spader Jr. We have the other judges, Alvor, Attorney William Tong's also listed because he's done absolutely nothing and is aware of my case in every which way. Civil Clerk Amy Melishvila, she's quite an operator within the system. You should know that she makes some pretty serious money. I think she gets paid somewhere around $180,000 a year. Just so you know, Spader's state salary is somewhere around $100,000, just to put it in perspective. That's the salaries, but that's not why they're there. Then we have all the attorneys from McCullough Raymer and so forth and so on. Those are all the complicit participants. The most recent addition was basically some of the clerks in the housing, especially this attorney Edmund O'Garo, who is quite an operator and he's something else. You also have the fictitious straw buyers there, the attorneys there. All these guys are complicit participants in this straw man buyer racketeering scheme.
It's a hell of a list, Andrew.
It's easy to connect all the players. It's easy to show all the stuff and where they're involved. Anyway, I'd like to go to the Rogue Town book cover.
Yep. Okay.
Let me just mention quickly, Stephen Conover was on that list, okay? I filed 32 complaints against him since 2000, and none have had a hearing, and they reference 500,000 felonies. So it's not like they don't have an obligation to return a phone call.
Okay, Tim, this book was put out in 1985. A lot of people feel this particular situation in Stamford, Connecticut was the reason that Reagan bumped up his crime effort and everything else. But if you could read some of the description here, because the reporter for the Stamford Advocate He won the Nobel Prize for this, and it was his stuff that was put together. But you should know that a lot of these names are still playing, okay? And they actually are affecting other things in other cases that we know of. But it's important to read because everything that you hear in this, nothing happened to any judges. And it's impossible to have a police station sitting right next to the courthouse. And how is it that no judges are involved? But if you read with the description there,
or even just
it'll
right on the
boggle
cover.
your mind, just so people get a sense of what Stamford, Connecticut's all about. And this is across the country.
When organized crime controls the police department, they control the entire city. Vito Colucci, the real deal. Dennis N. Griffin and Vito Colucci Jr. is the true story of Stamford, Connecticut, a city from 1965 through 1985 was under the stranglehold of organized crime and run by corrupt officials. It was known as one of the most corrupt cities in the country. Disgusted by what was happening in his hometown, Stamford police officer Vito Colucci vowed that he would do whatever it took to bring the corruption to light. It was a decision that eventually placed him in the undercover role, wearing a wire to gather evidence against senior officers in the Stamford Police Department and nearly cost him his life. When the dust settled, serious wrongdoing in 8 city departments was exposed, including the police department, where a rackets commander was taking $1,800 a week from the Gambino crime family, and a detective sergeant was running the largest drug ring in southern Connecticut out of the police headquarters. 15 city and state officials resigned or were fired. Police officers, other officials, and organized crime figures were indicted and convicted. And a young reporter from the Stamford Advocate named Anthony Dolan won a Pulitzer Prize for his 75-part series on municipal corruption. However, what happened in Stamford, Connecticut reverberated far beyond that city and state. It served as the catalyst for President Ronald Reagan's initiative against the American Mafia and the established of President's Commission on Organized Crime.
Yes.
Morgan Street James, who writes columns for both Las Vegas and Los Angeles editions of Examiner.com and is a noted author himself, wrote the following in her review of the new book. A sneak peek at the review copy was fascinating, and this book is sure to be a hit. Not a hit in the sense of killing someone, but a hit as in a runaway success. In Rowtown, Vito Colucci takes you back to those days and the years he worked undercover. It's the raw truth, and that's what makes it so compelling. And that's a very powerful piece.
Thank you for reading that. If we can go to the thing on evictions.
Yep.
I'm just trying to point out things here that are going to start to get people to really understand everything that's going on here. There's a news story on several of our cities being in the top ones in the country for evictions.
Is it the Foundation of Property Rights?
Nope.
Okay, let me see here.
No, it says something eviction, so it's like Waterbury, Bridgeport.
New Haven?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I found it.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Thank you for bearing with me, folks. If you're just joining us tonight, we have state senatorial candidate John J. Flynn with us and a great legal mind. The man never passed the bar, but he is one of the best as far as I can tell. His name is Andrew Pritchard, and he is delighting us with some incredible insight and education here today. Thank you for joining us. If you have not registered to Activism News Network, please go ahead and do that right away. www.activismnewsnetwork.com is where you can find a collective of the work, collaborative work on behalf of my colleagues and 21 colleagues, featuring Rogue Nation, Joe Cool, James Madison Audits, Disorderly Product News out of Chicago there. All the folks from east to west. You name it. We're all working together to create accountability, transparency, and, of course, when appropriate, liability. A little change of pace here today, but killing it nonetheless. And here we go. I got this document here for you.
Tim.
Yes, sir.
Let me answer a question in the chat before it scrolls down.
Sure. Let me put it up on screen. Which
saying,
one is it?
"You ever find out what was going on with the Newark police extortion attempts on that kid?" Well, since that time, they were telling me I had to come in to an internal affairs meeting, which has never been scheduled. By the way, never been allowed into one. There's so much going on with Norwalk that they can't answer any questions, but I keep paying bribes for that kid. And the reason why he won't call them himself is because they took him into custody, supposedly, that's what he tells me. And they beat him with a billy club till he was unconscious. And then when he woke up, he found out he was tasered, in his arm, burns all over him. Okay. So I've confronted the police multiple times. They refuse to go to the collection agencies. There are 4 in Norwalk where bail bondsmen are shaking down people on parole for cash. Now we find out there's a prosecutor involved. There's other people that you would never expect to be involved in a racketeering ring. But no, the fact is I haven't gotten a single answer. I have called the chief every other day for probably 3 weeks. And then one day, my car was stolen. I just got it back 2 days ago. Nothing was missing, but it was quite suspect that it was recovered in Milford, and it was locked. So there was targeting going on, I believe, which I'm hearing from other people. But I just want to also interject about what Andrew had said about Amy McShelvey.
Real quick. Go ahead.
Okay. So there are hundreds and hundreds of cases filed between 2000 and 2017 against the city of Stamford, against the mayor, against you name it, provider, you name it. All financial crimes, never processed. And now we're hearing complaints. I just heard a complaint from a woman the other day that Amy backdated documents so that she couldn't appeal her case. Honestly, folks, if that's what they're doing to evade following the law, we have a much more serious problem than anyone thought. After all.
Indeed. And now let's get back to Andrew here.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to answer the question in the chat.
Fine job, sir.
Taking place. That's my answer.
So real quickly, this is a story, a 2016 eviction lab done by the Eviction Lab. I don't know. Anyway, at Princeton University. 4 out of the 5 cities listed in the Northeast are in Connecticut. So these are the top eviction places. They're Waterbury, Hartford, Bridgeport, and New Haven. So in other words, our court system clearly is just doing a slam dunk and kicking people out the door, both rental. There's no processing whatsoever. We are 4 of the 5 top eviction cities based on this. It's insanity. Anyway,
there's that lady Deloro. She's the one that looks like that crazy woman in the 101 Dalmatians.
Anyway,
yeah,
let's go to, I just want to do these quickly. Disgraced Judge Emons.
Okay.
There's a thing that's titled Disgraced Judge Emons.
Okay.
Let me tell you something about Deloro that I know. She's in bed with the biggest slumlord in the state. His name is Arthur Greenblatt, who has published articles stating he has bought judges, police, and politicians. So,
right. Okay, this is
20,000 apartments. Go ahead.
This is an article that's very interesting. The citizens outraged that disgraced former Judge Emons is teaching ethics. Judge Emons got kicked out of being a judge because she was so bad and so crooked. And here is the Supreme Court Judge Andrew McDonald backing her so she can teach a course on ethics. And I just want to show you how tight this club is and how absurd it is. Anyway, let's go to Alice Bruno, 2-year no work. Judge Bruno.
I just want to scroll through this for anyone who might be interested. You know, they can pause the video or kind of read through this stuff. It's fascinating. I mean, if this is not a great example of, like you said, you know, the big club, just how tight knit it is.
May I add?
Yeah,
Judge
sure.
Emons works for Cohen and Wolf, the 5G lobbyist. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're almost through here. Yeah, it looks like.
By the way, something even more important. Themis Claridus works for Cohen and Wolf, who works with Judge Emons.
What are we on to next, Mr. Pritchard?
If we could go to Judge Bruno, Alice Bruno, 2 years no work, something, it's titled something like that. This was recent news. Judge Bruno basically did not work for 2 years, basically at an expense to the state of about $400,000 plus.
Yeah, let's spend some time on this. We can give this one a good 6 minutes. You know, let's go into some detail here.
We got some really juicy stuff coming up. So anyway, she basically, Judge Alice Bruno has not shown up for work for 2 years. She just didn't show up for work, but she got paid. So then if you go down in this article, you'll see where I underlined right there. At the start of 2020, Bizzuto warned Bruno that if she exhausted her vacation time, her absences would be referred to the Judicial Review Council, JRC. That is the secretive panel that oversees judicial conduct. The secret judges panel.
Right, everything, no transparency. They're not held accountable. Yeah, that's where Spader Jr. gets all of his magic from. That's where he wields all the power. Here's this. So now recently, they finally had to do something. So they put her on paid leave. For not showing up to work and getting paid. Yeah. I mean, that is the epitome of absurdity.
Yes. Yes. So let's then go, because this is important for, what's the guy, Alex?
Well, let's scroll through. Give us a little more details. I mean, or your own personal take on this.
Oh, it just shows the absurdity of the club. It also shows how basically the Judicial Review Committee is a bunch of judges that will always protect all the judges. And just like the bar protects all the attorneys with their
internal affairs. Just like internal affairs at state police.
Oh, it's just...
You can't ask them to investigate themselves and actually ever come up with any wrongdoing.
No.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on from this. I think we covered that pretty good.
Let's go to the next one. Chief State Attorney Colangelo.
Okay. Johnny, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, you probably need to say that the Patrick Carroll just stepped down, retirement, and he was head of the office of chief,
yes, that's true. Yeah, he was head of court administrative services.
And then when he stepped down, the Judge Bellis, who just screwed, Alex Jones, got the promotion into her spot. And have you read the articles? Because what's going on here is amazing. In the court case last week in Waterbury,
this is going to tie into what I have here, John.
Yeah, so Norm Pattis, right, is attacked for some kind of ethical leak of documentations he had no control over, and the family lawyers of the 15 families of Newtown. That lawyer leaked the documents because he had a thumb drive with passwords that he didn't collect any confidentiality agreements. So here we go. They're having this incredible joke going on in Waterbury. And what does Norm Pattis do? He calls Richard Colangelo in that picture. Lower it. Tim. Lower it. To Richard Colangelo. Now, Richard Colangelo, I maintain in a court case from 2020, took $1.5 million bribe, Stephen Barrier, for tasing a kid to death. 6 cops tased a kid to death. 21 come back 2 hours later, 4 hours later, excuse me, staged the body cam evidence, and Richard Colangelo took a bribe to cover up the taser evidence. He says,
Johnny, now I think I
Yeah.
am very aware of what you're talking about. And you can. I just want to see if I understand this correctly. One of the officers
finish.
involved in tasing this poor kid to death, was actually quoted saying, or laughing because he made the poor kid, defecate in his pants.
That's what he said. And meanwhile,
Do you hear that, folks?
There's a snuff video of them killing the kid. Do you want it? I mean,
yes, I do.
Well,
yes, I do.
I have a restraining order against it.
It's well, just to bring things back to this situation, what I'm trying to show with this article is here's the chief state attorney. In other words, the head attorney, okay? And, he's a criminal every which way, just by the examples of what you're talking about there. But basically, they're taking him out gently, okay, if you will, because he's protected. And what's amazing is that that he was a witness in the Alex Jones, Sandy Hook, Waterbury thing. Right. I mean, this guy's a criminal, and this is what they put this guy up to defend the state.
The second witness.
I don't want to.
Johnny, you got to relax, buddy.
Other state's attorney from Sandy Hook.
Okay, this guy's a can of worms. We can get lost into a place where we'll never come back. So I don't want to lose the theme of what I'm trying to do here.
And let me just remind you guys, on a panel like this, if there's more than one person talking, we won't be able to understand either one of the individuals talking at the same time. So we got to keep it one at a time.
Okay. If we could go to the Governor Rowland piece. It's a Wikipedia piece, Governor Rowland.
Yeah, I got it right here. Just a second, please.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Pritchard.
Indicted twice.
Yeah. In fact, not in his defense, but in my own humility, I have to say, after he was released from prison the first time, rather than jumping into public office, he was on the radio for some time here on the local station AM 1080. And I kind of liked what he had going on. He seemed to have kind of changed a little bit. And just to make the world even smaller, he actually assisted my sister's aunt in her campaign for governor, and that's actually how he landed himself back in prison, through some sort of campaign finance violation or some sort of campaign violations. But Lisa Wilson Foley was running at one point, and it was her campaign that he got himself mixed up in that landed him back in prison. But anyway, I digress. Andrew, go ahead, take it away.
So Governor Rowland here, basically this is showing how Governor Rowland ended up in jail. He was governor in 1995 to 2004, and during that time, he ended up in jail. What's significant about those dates? Governor Rowland, many of the judges that are serving in Stamford were appointed by Governor Rowland. It also should be noted that in the year 2000 in this state, we had sheriffs, the officer that can arrest a governor or a judge, have those powers, who is elected by us, the people, that got eliminated from our Constitution. We're one of, I think, 3 states that does not have sheriffs in the United States. What's very important for everyone to understand, which I said before in the last podcast, all those powers got abdicated back to you. I just wanted to say that. If we could get to the next sort of slide, if you will, is a look back at history, Corrupticut, a look back in history.
Got it. Just give me a second here.
does it say? Yes, welcome. And this is where I got the term Corrupticut from. Welcome to Corrupticut, a look back at the history of corrupt politicians in Connecticut. And if you go slowly through here, there's some interesting little things. If you keep going, keep going. All right, this first guy, stop there. Right there. This first guy, Frank Hayes. Here, the vast kickback program of the 1930s, Waterbury Mayor Frank Hayes was exposed by John Rowland's grandfather, Sherwood Rowland. So we have some of the same players or family connections. It all seems like the same politicians playing different sides and everything else. If we go on down, we continue to see player after player. We have right here, stop. We have Senator Thomas Dodd, who was thrown out, but then we had Chris Dodd or whatever for Senator
Chris Dodd,
came in there, right? I mean, it's just like the nepotism and the how these things work. We keep going on down. We see more politicians. Everybody has crooked politicians across all kinds of states, but it is very thick and incestuous, and the same players are playing through Connecticut.
Kickbacks disguised as loans. Former Waterbury Mayor Joseph Santorpetro,
Yes.
Sorry, Joseph, was convicted in 1992 of conspiring with bankers and developers to trade favors for bribes and kickbacks disguised as loans. Tom Brown, Hartford Current. Wow.
So we go down, you see more and get to more recent guys. This guy just seems like the Don, that guy.
Giordano.
It's like, okay, I wouldn't mess with him.
Tony Pizzicato.
We have Bridgeport's best, and then unfortunately we have Rowland going back into prison.
Oh,
anyway, the deep corruption that has been completely.
Oh, Mayor Eddie Perez.
I know Ernie
from Hartford.
Fellas. I know him. I met him 10 times.
Yep. So the deep corruption that goes through this entire judicial system and system of government has got to be put in check. Now, if you could go to property, if you could go to property, the foundation of rights.
Gotcha.
Of all rights. And as he brings this up, I just want to read this one paragraph because I think it says a lot, and then we can go to the next page. On the front page, the second paragraph, much moral and legal confusion would be avoided if we understood that all of our rights, all of the things to which we are entitled, can be reduced to property. That would enable us to separate genuine rights, things to which we hold title, from specious rights, things to which other people hold title, which we may want for ourselves. It was the genius of the old common law, grounded in reason and custom, that it grasped that point. And the common law judges understood a pair of corollaries as well. Property, broadly conceived, separates one individual from another, and individuals are independent or free to the extent that they have sole or exclusive dominion over what they hold. Indeed, Americans go to work every day to acquire property just so they can be independent. And then if we go to the next page, in a way, I try to summarize this by saying property defines freedom. Our entitled rights, defined as property, enable clear separation of one individual from another by what they own. America's founders understood that property enabled commerce and prosperity, plus freedom for the people. Common law, state law, and the Constitution secure our entitled rights we already have from natural law. How it works. Power comes from God to the people. Then the people delegate defined power to representatives. The Federalist Papers stated it specifically that the power of the people is superior to both the judicial and legislative power. Summary: secure and protected property defines freedom. And what we see right now across in our state, the Constitution state, and across the country, as we heard today from, I couldn't believe what I was hearing from the woman in Nassau, or Suffolk, Suffolk, New York. This is a complete attack on our freedom. And this is why this case, my case, and everybody's case, okay, where it really impacts our property rights. This is if they can grab my property, everyone, okay, with my situation, okay, even if you take the argument that I owe $200,000, okay, say they're right, and I owe $200,000, that they can take my property on a $3.5 million house. That is absurd. You couldn't take a man's bulldozer. You couldn't take his truck. At best, you could put a mechanic's lien on it, but you cannot seize it. You cannot. It's absurd. And everyone should be very frightened, because not for nothing, and I don't mean this in a bad way or to sound above the fray here, but I bet at least 95% of people out there have mortgages of more than 50% of their home, if not more. So if they can take my place and do what they're doing, you're all, nothing you say or do, they can just up and take it.
And that's why we're here.
They're breaking all these laws. These are the felonies that are occurring. And this is why all I want is a trial by jury, and all those people can be on the other side. Look at all those lawyers and all those judges and the attorney general and everybody on one side and Andy on the other. I'm all for that. Put me before my peers, and I think we'll do fine.
I think you're going to do just fine as well.
So that is my story. And the main reason I am fighting so hard on this is not just the corruption and the foreclosure. Okay. This whole system is connected to all the other areas of law that are very gray, such as in family court and probate. Well, probate should be more administrative. Once again, I do want to make this clear and give some people some ammunition. Judges do not have absolute immunity, okay? They have judicial immunity. Their Achilles heel is their administrative duty. A serious tool to use against that is the Administrative Procedures Act. They have to do everything properly, rules of the road, and they don't. They have violated so many things, it's not funny. In our particular state, and I believe this may be the case across the country, but and this is a federal offense. None of these debt collectors have done the emergency mortgage assistance program letter appropriately. It's mail fraud too. I can't believe the U.S. Postal Service hasn't jumped all over this. But we also know that there's some bad actors at least in this area, within the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh, big time. I've actually had a run-in with quite a few of them, and it seems the only remedy for these issues is to contact the folks out in Washington directly.
Yeah, the Postal Inspector's head office, and get this now, because it kind of makes sense.
The IG's office?
Yes, is in Chicago.
Oh, God. well, tell me that's not just a wee bit discouraging, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
come on.
So you kind of go, oh, really?
Johnny, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You've been so patient, man. Thank you very much. I figured out why they won't give Andrew a jury. Because they can't find 8 people that haven't been screwed.
Hey, you know what? That's not a bad assessment. In all seriousness, I mean, come on. I mean, it's really bad out here. The number of individuals leaping out of the woodwork and being so responsive in the comment section underneath Andrew's story is almost overwhelming.
Yeah, let's just say I saw Sam in the comments. You ought to say, hey, shout out to Sam.
Oh yeah, let me speak to that. Sam Magliari, who's on here. Okay, I want to bring this up one more time. This gentleman, I'm going to keep this real simple. He's a whistleblower on bad stuff that happened in Stamford, Connecticut, with the same names of those people that are in that Roguetown book. Now stop there. That's sensational in itself.
I want to let Sam know that I've been working on the last 72 hours covering some of his diligent work. I've paid a call in recent days to Stamford PD. I'm going to be doing some Freedom of Information Act requests there. I've called Eversource and tried to make contact with the same individual that the kind young lady that John Flynn and Sam spoke with about the public safety violations that are being committed all over the place and seem to be facilitated with the assistance of city police and city officials. So there is definitely conspiracy involved here, and it's just unbecoming of any public official, the things that I've been made aware of and that we need to start looking into and fighting to hold these people accountable. It's terrifying.
But let me, and John, can I just finish this one point? Take the whistleblower stuff, everybody, and put it to the side. Sam has been locked up illegally, okay, incarcerated by 3 different judges. He's been locked up in maximum security prisons here in Connecticut. He's been locked
sedated against his will.
Sedated against his will.
Denied his own heart medication.
Yep, denied his own heart medication. And I mean, and it boggles the mind. It's like out of
the Twilight Zone.
Movie.
It's out of the Twilight Zone. It really is.
And by the way, he also at one point had $640,000 worth of bonds against him. An axe murderer doesn't have that big of it's.
There's a very a great opportunity here to bring up history and kind of conjure a teachable moment here. What the state is doing to Sam Magliari is very Stalin-esque. It's very, we're going to make you out to be a lunatic. If you say anything, we're going to give you a lobotomy, basically. Yes. You'll have no chance to get any legal representation. You'll get no phone call. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. In fact, you're not even going to get your required health medications. You're not even going to get any food or water for the next X amount. It's unreal what they've done to this man. And in fact, I witnessed one of these felonies committed by this judge. I think it was Judge White. Yes. Yeah, I attended one of these hearings. I witnessed Sam's illegal incarceration.
Which we filed. That's the one I was at. And several of us, including John, right there.
And myself, yep.
Yep, we filed a motion for capias against Judge White, and they have yet to bring us in front of a judge. The clerks refused to do it. Yep. We've gone back there multiple times. He should not be serving as a judge, nor should the assistant state attorney, who basically coordinated the whole thing with Judge White, should not be allowed. This is frightening. What is going on? It's frightening. And
here we go. We have Peter W. The dude with 900 plus ounces of weed in the trunk of his car still has a job and probably got a raise and promoted. He's talking about the state marshal, Alan Friedman.
Alan Friedman, yeah. I've been in touch with the Norwalk police. I haven't heard anything. I went down there and filed a police report for his arrest because he committed felonies by stepping on my property and armed in his official capacity. Mm-hmm. He's only a state marshal is only allowed to be a peace officer unless he's fully trained and he has a particular order that he has to execute, which requires him to be armed. No a state marshal showing up for an eviction or anything else is to any sort of violence, anything else. It's a peace officer. There should never be a conflict, and he should walk away from everything. as per their codes and statutes here in Connecticut, just so you know.
Johnny, before I give you the floor, I just want to let the audience know I am going to be publishing a very powerful video of Sam's situation and his work on behalf of the community. He's got some very powerful content. If you haven't gone to Sam's channel, you can find him here on YouTube just by simply looking up Sam Magliari. I'm sure he would be happy to answer any questions you guys might have while he's here in the comment section. So if you are participating here in the live stream comment section, feel free to chime in and ask Sam some questions. Aside from that, I do have some powerful stuff coming out regarding the Secretary of State's office. You guys would not believe the engagement I had with our public servants within the Secretary of State's office today. They don't even identify themselves when they answer the phone. So they'll answer the phone. They'll say Secretary of State's office. And I say, oh, hi, good afternoon. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Secretary of State's office. Yes, hi. Who is this, please? Can I? Who am I speaking with? And it's like they sit there and think like, oh, this mother effer, what? He's asking for my name. Like they're mad because I want them to give me their name. Right. And they give me their name, and I say, yeah, I got a few questions. I have a great many of concerns that I'd like to express. I'm not sure. Well, that's exactly, it was the same level of contempt. Yes, it was very much the same. I was hung up on twice before I can even finish asking a question. I'm being transferred to every which line until Sunday, to people I don't even, I have no idea what their title is, what they do there. People, when they talk, are muffled and unclear. One time the phone rang for nearly 10 minutes. They answer. All I get is a bunch of echoing and people talking in the background. And then Bernie, one of the attorneys there, is allegedly, evidently on the line, but he can't hear me. And I can barely hear
Bernie,
him.
you?
Yeah, it was just very bizarre. Yeah.
Can I mention something?
They actually said to me, I got this on recorded line, that the Freedom of Information Act request, when I asked who I would, which clerk would be best to, suited to accept a Freedom of Information Act request and get it off to the appropriate departments, they immediately said, the law says that you have to do that through an attorney. So, you have to go through our attorney to do. I couldn't believe what they were telling me. And they're just totally stonewalling any effort.
Something?
Just a moment, Johnny. Just a moment. I'll give you the floor.
Okay.
Totally stonewalling any efforts to give the people the answers that we want. Like one of the questions I had is, hey, how many ballot drop boxes were deployed throughout the state in the 2020 presidential election, and how many boxes or approximate boxes are estimated to be deployed during this 2022 midterm cycle? And I've asked that question at least a dozen times in the last 3-4 months, and I still haven't gotten an answer. No one returns my phone calls. I still haven't been able to submit a FOIA request. I said, you know what? Forget doing this in writing or over the phone. Who would I speak with if I actually came down there today? No one wants to answer my question. It's unbelievable. It's a powerful video that's going to be coming out in the next couple of days. Johnny, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, it's easy to prove voter fraud in Connecticut since 13 Connecticut residents ran for president of the United States in 2020. Okay? And I'm sure every single one of those people that ran for president of the United States in 2020 had a chance of a lifetime to vote for themselves, and I'm sure they did. And the fact that Denise Merrill says nobody voted for any of the 13 presidential candidates who filed properly, that's just impossible, because I have 21 pictures of the 21 people who voted for me. So, of the ballots themselves. Now, I didn't care because that wasn't my goal. But the fact of the matter is you can prove multiple types of fraud all over the place. But when you were speaking about Bernard Liu, okay, I want to mention something before you all move on. Bernard Liu accepted a complaint written by me at the 2020 election. The complaint specifically said that Black Lives Matter came to Columbus Magnet School on election day, and I had a blind volunteer working for me at the school, standing there, a Trump supporter, a blind lady handing out literature. Oh, If you have any questions, talk to me about, this, that, and the other thing. She was helping all the candidates she knew, like 10, so it's all fair. It's all good. They had their line. We had our line. The fact remains, the state rep of the 140, which is Columbus, is Travis Sims. Travis Sims walks up to Black Lives Matter and says, "Oh, I believe in everything you're saying in your chants." They're chanting F Trump, F Trump, standing in front of the line, causing a gauntlet. And hundreds of voters were standing in line, okay, waiting patiently, moving forward. They had a record election turnout, and hundreds of them went home instead of going through the BLM picket line. Now, what happened in the complaint to Bernard Liu, which I will address someday, hopefully soon, is that the state rep's daughter, Maya Sims, who has multiple assaults in the screen, 3 that I know of, has never been arraigned. Okay? Now, this is 2020, folks. Now, if you look at Travis Sims's identical twin brother, he showed up at multiple schools claiming to be Travis, shaking people's hands. And I could recognize him. He's different. He looks different. He's an identical twin. But think of this. Travis Sims has multiple arrests and assaults in his criminal past record.
Have you heard of Lou Button?
No.
He's also an attorney there at
Travis Sims also has multiple arrests. What I'm saying here is, in front of a school, a volunteer who was blind was assaulted by 3 Black Lives Matter people, and they didn't process the complaint, Bernard Liu. Okay?
Yeah, that's a big deal. We're definitely going to try to help you out with that and FOIA request any sort of internal documentation they have on that.
I keep calling. Every time I see him, I say, "Bernard, you promised me an answer." That was 3 years ago.
Well, in fact, I think that situation demonstrates a pattern that is identical, almost verbatim, to what we see in Andrew's case. They just, no one does anything. It just becomes stagnant. It just sits there, and then they think it's going to go away.
That blind lady eats at my house every Sunday night for the last 10 years. She's coming Sunday. I'm going to put her on. We're going to talk to her and ask her questions about how she was assaulted, we went to the police. They refused to take a police report. And then we called the Sikh, because not only were they inside the 75-foot line, which is a violation, there were many other violations. They were touching people. Okay, imagine going up to people and shadow boxing, pulling punches from their face while they're standing in line, going like this. "Oh, I'm next to vote."
Just to
break.
Just to give you a little side note, because John hasn't mentioned it, the Sims brothers were world champion boxers.
Correct.
Not
arrest of Travis Sims, he had an illegal handgun, with an illegal magazine. And when he got arrested, he confronted the police and said, "I'm going to defund you. I'm going to defund you all." So you know what? They refused to prosecute him. Isn't that wonderful?
Wow, those are the magic words.
My state rep.
I'm going to defund you.
I'm going to defund your ass if you prosecute me for having an illegal handgun.
Well, let's give that a shot, ladies and gentlemen. That's the new form of defense, I guess. It works here in Connecticut, depending on who you are.
I thought, knowing about Bernard Liu and that they are sitting on ADA violations. When you hurt a disabled person, that's got teeth.
Yeah. Well, I got through to the Elections Enforcement Commission today. I talked with a wonderful woman by the name of Lucy, and I talked with one of their attorneys for a solid 20 minutes or so. And while he couldn't give me any legal advice, I have at least 5 complaints to file now with that office, which I am going to do. However, the complaint process is different than anything I've ever seen in any other municipality or agency that I've worked with. The complaint is actually an affidavit. They want me to give them sensitive personal information. And just because of the nature of these complaints, I'm not entirely comfortable with doing that. So one of the inquiries I had talking with this attorney was, can I do this anonymously up until a certain point? once this goes to a docket after you guys investigate and go, yeah, okay, what happened on the phone today, and the fact that they're not doing a FOIA for you and nobody seems to know how or what the hell is going on. Yes, that's definitely a huge problem.
There's Tank.
Oh yeah, Tank the dog.
Tank,
the guard dog.
All right, Tank.
He's been here a long while, my man. We can hear him snoring. If you guys listen close, let's listen to Tank snore, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear the beast himself. Ready? A moment of silence for Tank.
Tim, may I mention something?
Hold on now, Johnny. Hold on.
No, it's important.
Tank's got the mic now. Hold on.
Kibbles and bits.
There he is. That's what the people have to look forward to. The criminals or anyone who's trespassing upon Mr. Pritchard's property. That's what they have to look forward to. Greeting them at the door.
Tim, thank you. Tim, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I really appreciate it. And to the audience, I'm sorry I'm not very good at this stuff. I don't have Twitter. I'm not on LinkedIn. I am not social media guy, and I really don't. This is not my thing. So I really appreciate your patience with everything, and God bless you all. And I keep talking about all this negative stuff, but I think we can do some really good stuff if we stand our ground and use the power that we have.
There's a positive in everything, Andrew, and I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's always a privilege and an honor to speak with you. You have a tremendous level of insight, education, and life experience in many areas. This is a man of many hats, ladies and gentlemen. And while he may say he is no good at this, I think he's a natural-born talent. He's just here being himself, and he's doing a fine job. So let's give him a round of applause. Thank him for being here. I'd love to have you on for a special on 9/11. We could talk about the history of 9/11 and the questions that the engineers have had for many, many moons. We can get into, just how that whole event, affected your life and the lives around you. And, we can delve into a number of great many topics, but that's one I want to do specifically in the future for sure.
Yeah. To speak to that, and anyone that's a 9/11, let's call it survivor, if you will, we're in a weird spot because everybody wants to talk to us about that stuff and everything else. It's a very
hard thing to talk about. It's like asking a grandfather to talk about the war.
It's interesting. Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
Only we weren't trained for combat. Like we were expecting stuff like this. So anyway,
Andy, did you know Carl Flickinger?
Yes, the name sounds very familiar.
He was in my wedding.
Yeah,
and his uncle Eddie Allegretto was the convertible bond guy.
Yeah, there's.
Does anybody have any questions, Andrew? Would you mind taking a question before you go? I know it's. Okay. If anybody has any questions, we're gonna start the timer now. 120 seconds. You guys got 120 seconds to get them in. Get your questions in for Andrew before he signs off tonight. If you got anything for Johnny, throw them up there. If you got anything for me, throw them up there.
Tim, I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Did you know the blind lady who was assaulted had her voter ballot rejected by the attorney you were talking to?
Oh, on August the 3rd?
Correct. And the 9th and the 10th.
Now, when a clerk does that, that's a felony, if I'm understanding.
Correct. Especially if she's blind.
Mm-hmm. This is part of the complaint I'm filing. I'm filing a number of complaints.
Wasn't recognizable because she can't see.
However, I'm trying to get the office to give me anonymity until it goes to docket, until I can properly insulate myself and my family from any sort of nefarious, retaliatory, nonsense that might be coming down the pike.
For your 6-gun revolver, Stephen Barrier Sr., the father of the kid that was murdered, his ballot was rejected on the 3rd, the 9th, and the 10th. So that's the taser death kid's father who signed my petition that I submitted 3 times, and it never made it. So please ask him why the biggest murder cover-up in Connecticut history at the Stanford Police Department, related to Roguetown, as this long-standing criminal cabal hides murder evidence, leading to Colangelo's dismissal. Thank you very much. But the question is here, even one of the other ladies, let me tell you a story quick.
Very quick.
Lizette Timke called me one day. Johnny, come over to my house. Throw out my mattress. I go, what's up? I go there. They wouldn't help her at the housing authority. Owned by Doloro's friend, Greenblatt. Oh, Johnny, I had 2 blood transfusions from bed bugs. I said, excuse me? Yep, 2 blood transfusions. I have bed bugs. Find them. Get them out of here. I go, well, let me look at your mattress. 2 gallons poured out on the floor. 2 gallons of bed bugs.
That's
a
awful disgusting.
Apartment, living in a wheelchair with MS since she was born. And she's
we got Jerry Smith here. How will the corrupt judges that you have arrested? Well, first of all, the judges haven't been arrested yet. A capias writ for their arrest has been filed. Am I correct in my understanding, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, but it has not necessarily, nothing's happened since the filing. That's where you're at with that.
Correct. Well, I had one hearing before a judge, and he, right away, I brought up the fact of judicial bias, and he said he knew all the judges, and he immediately denied the capias. And so then I filed another capias, including him, because of what was in the transcript and everything else and what he said.
What other option would you have?
No, that's it. So I filed again. Now, this judge that did that, his name is Judge Blowy. He's a serious criminal judge. He was the one in charge of Sandy Hook, Remington. So this is not a lightweight. So in other words, just for Jerry, they already have accepted that it's real. Okay, so it's just by precedent now, it has to go before another judge. Now, when I take it before another judge, I'm going to request that a grand jury of peers, not the grand jury of judges, hear the case.
Which we are constitutionally privileged to.
Right, and then if there are charges, then we have and then we have a trial. And there's no denying this is black and white administrative felony stuff. For example,
right. Capital crimes. These are capital crimes.
Oh, yeah. For example, a simple one, the senior most judge, Gennario, in Stanford Superior Court, recused himself from my case. A year later, he's dishing out orders to have his best friend rule on my case. Like, are you kidding me? So
it seems a lot like what the relationship Judge Jennifer Mazurowski and Judge Barry Armada have down in GA 19 Rockville Family Court.
Yeah,
they are absolutely drinking gin on Saturday someplace, talking about what they're going to be doing for each other Monday through Friday.
It's a club.
Hey Andrew, question: did you get Juan's transcript?
I have not received it yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Albert Cusio, the trial court exercises the right to make an independent and de novo determination of issues involved without regard to the result reached by the probate court, quote, end quote. Thus, every trial court must post the notice of the provisions relating to Section 4-61DD, whistleblowing, disclosure in a conspicuous place readily available for viewing by employees. They do not.
I've never seen one.
Right?
Nope.
Well, thank you very much, Albert Cusio. He's becoming a regular around here. I love seeing the familiar faces. Let's just say hello to everybody here.
Thanks
John.
Albert, he's a genius.
John Denicola, thanks for coming. Al, you are a legal genius in your own right. Joe Cool.
Joe Cool.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, from Chicago, representing Chicago. If you haven't seen Joe Cool's channel, this guy's he's out there battling the Chicago police and the corruption in Chicago.
Chicago's tough.
He lives in some very bad areas. I mean, he'll hang out and light up a blunt you know, where and somebody might get shot where, you know, behind him because he's parked on one of the, you know, craziest blocks in town or something at the time.
I have family members that were a long time Chicago, and they just moved to Florida because they couldn't, too high risk. They're older, and they just said, we can't take the risk.
Wandering Hippie, thanks for being here. Lion One, thank you for being here. Rachel, I love you. Tim Judge, always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
H. Lindsay.
Heather.
Yes.
Yeah, Heather.
Please. That's a story.
The Constitution State, thanks for coming over here, my friend. I appreciate it. I hope everything's going well with your FOIA out in New London and in Willimantic, Connecticut. Folks, check out his channel. He's got a number of things bubbling over there. Very interesting stuff. He's new on the scene. He's learning as he's going, and he's very eager to get better at what he's doing. Sam Magliari, thank you so much for being here, sir. Always a pleasure. If you haven't seen Sam Magliari's stuff, get on over to Sam Magliari's YouTube channel. Just simply type in his name. It's spelled out there for you. It's SAMMAGI. Oh, I'm sorry. MAGLIARI. That's Sam Magliari. He's a whistleblower here in the state of Connecticut. He was a former city engineer. He is a mega mind of intelligence and intellectual capacity that most can't even compare to. He's like an inferno of knowledge and peace. Yeah, and he's like a big teddy bear. And as much as the state would like us to believe he's insane, if you just stop and take a look at what he's presenting and articulating, you'll be able to conclude very quickly on your own that he is not insane.
Can I quote him? Since he's not here? Your Honor, I'm not crazy. I'm telling you what the law is.
Yeah, here's one. In one of his latest videos, he says, he was talking about his competency hearing, or the second or third one it was, whatever it was. And even though he had passed with flying colors every which way, twice till Sunday, every time, you know, he was talking about his other competency hearing. And he says, what do you mean? I'm driving backwards right now, reciting the law. Boom! Oh. Like he backed into something, you know, just playing around. He's a great guy. He's got a fantastic sense of humor, and he really needs our help. More important than anything else I've stated. Andrew needs help. I need help. John needs our help. Sam needs our help. And I think if we can all just work together, put the prejudice, misconceptions aside, and if everybody could just deflate their egos for a moment and find their own humility, and we can unite and struggle for the strength we need. I think we can overcome these obstacles. I think we can keep Andrew in his home, and I think we can get the state to back off, and we can hold these people accountable. I think we can get Sam the justice he deserves, and give him a sense of security that he has not been able to sleep with for a very long time. I think we can help get John Flynn elected here, because John Flynn's the only one who really cares about public safety. Period. End of discussion. No other candidate on the table right now could give two hoots about public safety or accountability or transparency. Johnny's the only one. So we've had a complete media blackout, and now we've seen media drive-by pieces coming out on him because he's becoming a real threat as we get closer to this.
Today, we got calls from Long Island, New Jersey, Arizona, Bridgeport. The Bridgeport call was a guy named Jose saying, this is what's going on in Bridgeport. I got to get in your group. I need you guys to support me on my issues. He says, I'm very big on this, that, the other thing. Look at DCF. Look at these families being destroyed. Look at this mortgage fraud. I see all these things. That's what he's saying. I see all these things happening around me. We don't have a group. We don't have a voice. We are being killed here. And I say, well, here's Angela's number. There's Angela's number. Angela will help you. And here's so-and-so's number. And just putting these people together, 2 calls came in. I tried to connect Andrew on both, but he got through on the first one. The woman blew his mind. And she's been fighting enormous law groups, law firms, with dedicated attorney staffs robbing people. False document after false document after false document all day long. So
We could probably do a series on this stuff. We should probably come up with a creative name. Maybe we can get the audience involved. If the audience wanted to come up.
But you know what? It demonstrates that it's nationwide, folks. It's New England. It's certainly happening in Brooklyn. I know this. I've gotten many calls from Brooklyn. I don't follow up that well because I just don't have time. We need more people organizing more people.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
So with that, hit the like button. If you've been here, hit that like button. That's going to help circulate this video.
Yeah.
Hit the dislike button. Hit the dislike button. Be a troll. If you're here trolling, troll away, my friends. Please hit the dislike button. Leave a nasty comment if it makes you feel better at night. But
thank you very much.
Participate one way or another. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I sincerely appreciate it. Every
hats off to Andrew.
Opportunity.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and hats off to John Flynn as
I'm
well.
willing to show you the top of my head. Come on, Andrew. Hats off to Andrew.
Until next time, thank you for being here. There was one more. There was Jerry Smith. Thank you. And John Leon I'm not even going to try.
Oh, John Alphabet.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, John Alphabet. I appreciate it. God bless you and yours. Be well, be swell, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Stay tuned for tomorrow night. We're going to feature the Connecticut Residents for Responsible Technology. We're going to be going live, I think, at about 8:35 or 8:45 p.m. tomorrow night. So join us. We've got some very powerful speakers. We're going to be talking about the constitutionality or lack thereof associated with the actions of our government officials. We're going to talk about how to hold them accountable and what that process involves. We're going to talk about some public safety concerns, including more specifically smart meters, and some other new technologies that have been recently deployed throughout the state and throughout the country. Yes, Johnny, I see you backstage. I'll leave it at that, just to give you a little tickle. I need your support. The Connecticut citizens need your support. We're going to bring Johnny back up real quick here. Johnny needs your support, so we're going to give him the time that he needs.
People really need an introduction that are coming on because they are contributing to the 5G lawsuit in Connecticut like nobody's business. They just gave us 11,000 exhibits from the Robert Kennedy files on his case.
Yeah, just to interject real quick, Johnny, Johnny's got a lawsuit, and this entity wants to help the Connecticut Residents for Responsible Technology, want to help. Johnny's got some exhibits he's been kind enough to share with me that have gone into court. Senator Richard Blumenthal, lying Janae Dick Blumenthal, is the defendant. He's one of the defendants. Johnny, why don't you just, without saying too much, really, because we're out of time here, just list the defendants in the lawsuit and what you think about the Connecticut Residents for Responsible Technology.
Okay. Let me say, Senate Majority Leader of the state of Connecticut, Bob Duff, is a defendant. Okay. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal is a defendant. There are many, including Anwar. It's a long list, folks. But more importantly, we have PURA, the Siting Council, which decides where the towers go. We have the Council of Governments, which runs the damn thing. Who elected them? Well, when you look at the latest defendant, now there's lots, it's Annie Lamont. Can you believe that? Why is SEMA4 paying doctors' salaries at Yale as they biometrically chip people? So our first plaintiff is me. Our second plaintiff I'd like to speak about, Philip Marie, was chipped behind his head with a biomedical chip. And when he had a colostomy...
Well, wait. Hang on. Yeah. Just let me stop you, Johnny. This stuff, I just got to put up a disclaimer here. Look, I haven't substantiated any of these things that our great senatorial candidate is saying right now. I don't want to lose my channel by saying all the magic words that would make me lose my channel.
Okay, sorry.
So, we got to be careful talking about certain topics and the verbiage that we use. I haven't ran you through those procedures that I like to apply in such conversation. But, I think we're going to stop it there for tonight, and then once you and I can get together and discuss how we can properly disclose this without me feeling so.
Yeah, I don't want to put you at risk.
Yeah, you got it. There's a great risk
that.
associated with disseminating the truth. I am not saying that what you just heard is the truth. I'm not saying it's not the truth. What we're doing is we're talking about issues that people are facing and that have been addressed. Johnny's been made aware of, and he's working with these people throughout Connecticut to try to make the difference that I think every Connecticut citizen is longing for.
Tomorrow's an all-star cast. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, Andy?
Yes.
We got, how can the same judge be the presiding and administrative judge simultaneously? Albert Cusio.
Good question, Albert.
Yeah, we've got some watchdog community here on YouTube. I'm wondering what all these watchdog groups think. You know, like Artie's Corporate Fiction, or there's this guy, Blue Bacon, who just likes to libel, slander, and assassinate the characters of many great Americans working hard to expose corruption, just like we are. We're often portrayed as sovtards. There's a lot of really nasty names for us going around out there, but these people claim to be attorneys and things, and it would be kind of interesting to see where they are on this situation. You know, there have been some critics in the community, but they haven't lasted long. There's an eerie silence in the community from that side, and I find that kind of fascinating.
Well, I'm not afraid of. That's all I want to do is get before my peers as my right before, and there's 9, I think, or 8 from the largest foreclosure firm in the country is on one side with 17 judges plus the attorney general and stuff. And
yeah, we put the list up.
Andy on the other side. So I'm okay. And I don't have any law school or experience. But
that's fascinating unto itself.
I have the truth.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you're fighting so hard. That's why you've appropriated all of this knowledge to properly defend yourself, because I think you know deep down inside every night when you go to sleep and in your heart and in your mind and your soul that you do have the truth on your side, and you are going to fight the way you've been fighting, and you're trying to fight peacefully and civilly. Yeah. One thing I want to add to this is we don't promote violence here. There's insane comments going around in the comments section circulating about your story. You know, we're not going to promote or condone the use of force and violence. This man has a brain. He doesn't need to use guns here. You know,
and a tank.
Yeah, and a tank. Metaphorically speaking, YouTube, don't get it twisted. You know,
I got 2 of them in there. There's another one.
Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let's call it a night. We'll get together soon. Andy, I can't thank you enough. Like I said earlier, it's always a privilege and an honor.
Thank
Johnny,
you, the Tyrant Slayer, banging it out. His last video had what, 350,000? The short one? How many?
His short's about 300,000 now. Yeah. Well, everybody's interested in Andy's situation, so we're gonna follow it closely and give him all the support he needs, and be there for him as much as he will allow us to be there. And I can't thank you for your time enough. And with that, I bid to each and every one of you farewell. Tune in tomorrow night. We will be live. I hope to see you in the audience participation tomorrow night. Andy, if you do have some time, it'd be nice for you to chime in. Johnny, I
can't tell you why. It is a must-see.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about your lawsuit there.
I don't see how you're going to be able to talk about those topics tomorrow. If you
I've got an operation for that. I have a procedure for that, and I think with the bright minds that are going to be on with me tomorrow night, it's going to be no problem. This
is bull, and this comes out the other end.
Well, it's not going to be here. It's going to go. It's going to go. It's going to go smooth. We're crossing our fingers. Yeah, we're going to try. We got to try. And if we fail, we'll just have to pick up the pieces and try again. That's all we can do. So, ladies and gentlemen, be well, be swell. Andy, thank you very much. Have a good night. Johnny, we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Especially to all you guys and Tank.